Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going deep into the world of generative AI security.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're already an AI expert or just curious about the future, this deep dive is going to give you the knowledge to navigate this exciting but potentially risky landscape.
And what's so interesting is we're not just talking about some far-off future threat here.
Right.
Generative AI is already a part of our lives, from
Yeah.
content creation to data analysis, even decision-making. But with all this amazing potential comes a whole new set of risks that we really need to understand.
So let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
We hear all the time about cybersecurity, but what makes Gen AI security different? Why is this such a big deal right now?
Well, think of traditional cybersecurity as like protecting a castle.
Okay.
You've got your firewalls and your moats. You're guarding against intruders trying to break into those systems. But Gen AI is like having a magical forge inside the castle that's creating new weapons and tools, even entire rooms, all from materials we don't even really understand.
So not only do we have to worry about the traditional threats, but now we've got this AI inside the walls that could be making things we never even anticipated.
Precisely. And those creations, those outputs from the Gen AI can be unpredictable even to the people who made the system.
Okay, so let's talk about some real-world examples. When we talk about Gen AI, we're talking about AI that can compose music, write code, and create realistic images.
Oh, yeah.
So what could actually go wrong with that?
Well, let's think about news articles. Imagine a Gen AI model trained on a huge amount of articles. The goal is to create summaries of those articles or even write new articles based on events.
Sure, makes sense. Who wouldn't want a quick summary of the news?
Right, but that's where the danger is.
Okay.
What if someone with bad intentions, it changes that training data?
Oh,
They add in biased information or even make up fake events. The AI doesn't know any better and starts using this bad data in its articles. Then what happens? We start seeing news articles that look real, but they're actually pushing some agenda or spreading misinformation, all without anyone knowing the source has been messed with.
that's scary. It's like a Trojan horse sneaking in harmful content disguised as something we trust.
Yeah,
That's what you call data poisoning, right?
exactly. And it's a very real threat, not just some theory.
Right.
We've already seen examples of AI being tricked this way, and it can have really harmful consequences, even if it wasn't intentional.
Okay, so data poisoning is one big risk.
Right.
What about stealing the AI models themselves? These models come from tons of research and development.
Right.
What happens if someone gets their hands on that secret formula?
That's another huge risk we call model theft.
Okay.
Imagine a company spends millions developing a super advanced Gen AI that can do medical diagnoses.
Right.
Now imagine a rival company or even a country gets unauthorized access to that model.
Uh-oh.
They could use it to get ahead, manipulate it for themselves, or even sell it on the dark web.
So it's not just about what the AI produces, but the AI itself becoming something valuable that we have to protect.
Precisely, and this is already happening. We've seen real cases of model theft with serious consequences.
Wow. This is already a lot to take in, and you mentioned there's even more to be concerned about.
Yes, there's data poisoning and model theft, and then we have adversarial attacks. Remember how we said Gen AI outputs can be unpredictable?
Yeah.
Well, that unpredictability makes them vulnerable to manipulation.
Okay, break that down for me. What is an adversarial attack?
It's like a high-tech illusion. Someone makes what seems like a harmless input, like a carefully worded question or a slightly changed image, and this tricks the AI into creating something totally different than what it should.
Oh, wow.
Imagine a self-driving car using AI to understand road signs. Now imagine someone changes a stop sign just a little bit, so the AI thinks it's a speed limit sign.
Oh, wow. That's terrifying. So we're talking about using the AI's weaknesses to maybe even cause real harm. Is that like what happened with that image of a turtle that tricked an AI into thinking it was a rifle?
Exactly. That's a classic example of an adversarial attack. And they can be anything from internet pranks to really dangerous situations.
Okay, I'm officially feeling a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But there are ways to protect ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
We're not just going to sit back and let the AI apocalypse happen.
Definitely not. And that brings us to the practical part of our deep dive, how to build a secure foundation for Gen AI.
Okay.
It's like exploring new territory, but we're going to give you the right map and compass.
Okay, so what's the first landmark on this map? What's the first step in building a secure Gen AI environment?
Well, the most important principle is visibility.
Okay.
You can't protect what you can't see, right?
Right.
This idea of shadow AI is a big concern where AI systems are being used in companies without anyone really knowing or having control.
So we're talking about like rogue AI operating in the shadows, potentially causing all sorts of problems.
Exactly. It's like having a secret lab in your basement where someone's experimenting with powerful technology that could be dangerous and no one knows about it.
Okay, that paints a vivid picture, but how do we shine a light on this shadow AI?
Right?
Do we need to hire AI detectives to sniff out these rogue algorithms?
Well, maybe not Sherlock Holmes, but it does require a system.
Okay.
One really important step is to create what's called an AI bomb, which stands for Bill of Materials.
Okay.
It's basically a complete list of all the AI being used in a company, from the models to the data they're trained on.
Uh-huh.
This helps us find and track every AI system so nothing is operating under the radar.
So it's like taking inventory of all the potentially dangerous tools we have.
Exactly. And once we have that visibility, we can start implementing those other security principles like zero critical risks, democratization, and prevention. But we'll get into those more in the next part of our deep dive.
This has been incredibly eye-opening. We've explored the world of data poisoning, model theft, and adversarial attacks.
Yeah.
But don't worry, listeners. We're just getting started in part 2. We'll delve into those practical security principles and learn how to build a more secure foundation for Gen AI. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yes.
In part 1, we took a look at some of the risks of Gen AI, data poisoning, model theft, and those tricky adversarial attacks.
Right.
Now it's time to shift gears and figure out how to navigate this landscape safely.
Absolutely. It's time to move from awareness to action.
Okay.
Remember that Secure Gen AI 2024 guide we mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it lays out 7 key practices for building a more secure Gen AI environment. You can think of these practices as our toolkit for this journey.
Okay, I'm ready to get tactical. What's the first tool in this Gen AI security toolkit?
The first one is remove shadow AI.
Okay.
We've got to get rid of those rogue AIs hiding in our organizations. No more secret AI labs in the basement.
Right, no more secret labs.
This is all about bringing those shadow AI projects out into the open.
Okay.
And it starts with setting up clear company-wide policies about Gen AI usage. We need to make sure everyone understands the risks and follows security rules.
So it's not just about telling people don't use unauthorized AI.
Right.
It's about explaining why it's important and giving them safe alternatives.
Exactly. And it's not just about words. We need to put technical controls in place like network monitoring to spot any unauthorized Gen AI use.
Okay, so we're shining a light on those AI projects and setting up alarms to catch any rogue activity.
Mm.
What's the next tool in our toolkit?
Practice number 2 is protect your data.
Okay.
This one's really important. Remember data poisoning.
Yeah.
Well, this is where we build strong defenses to protect the data that our Gen AI uses.
So data encryption access controls all the cybersecurity stuff.
Exactly. But it's even more important for Gen AI because that training data is like the foundation. If it's compromised, everything falls apart.
So we're not just protecting sensitive information.
Right.
We're protecting the AI itself.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about the data that the AI uses to make its outputs. We need to protect that too, especially if it's customer information or company secrets.
Okay, so we're locking down the data, keeping it safe. What's next?
Now we move on to securing the brain of the operation, the AI model itself.
Makes sense.
The third practice is secure access to Gen AI models.
So we've protected the ingredients and the recipes. Now we need to secure the chef.
Exactly. We need to make sure only the right people can access these powerful models.
Okay.
Imagine someone with bad intentions got in and changed how the model works.
Oh,
They could manipulate the outputs, create bias, or even destroy the whole system.
that's a scary thought.
So we need robust access controls, multi-factor authentication, all those layers of security.
Okay, so we're being really careful about who gets near these models. What's number 4?
This one's interesting. Use LLM built-in guardrails.
Okay.
Many large language models or LLMs, they often have built-in security features. It's like they have their own immune system.
So we can use the AI's own defenses.
Exactly. Think of it like safety features in a car, airbags, lane departure warnings. All those things are designed to prevent accidents.
Right.
Many LLMs have similar features like content filtering to stop the AI from creating offensive stuff or systems that flag abuse.
So before we even start building our own defenses, it's good to check what safety features the AI already has.
Right.
Any examples come to mind?
Sure. OpenAI, the folks who made ChatGPT, they have a really good content filtering system that they're always updating to stop the model from making harmful or biased content. And Google has strict guidelines for Bard, their AI, to make sure it's used ethically.
Okay, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
just like We don't only rely on a car's safety features.
Right.
We shouldn't only depend on these guardrails.
You're right. It's important to remember these features aren't perfect.
Right.
They change all the time, and there will always be new problems that come up. So we still need to add our own security measures and really check any Gen AI provider or model carefully.
Okay, we've talked about removing shadow AI, protecting data, securing access to models, and using those built-in guardrails. What's number 5?
Practice number 5 is about being proactive. Detect and remove AI risks and attack paths. We're not just defending, we're actively looking for weaknesses in our AI.
So instead of waiting for an attack,
Right.
we're trying to anticipate what the attacker might do.
Exactly like in a game of chess.
Yeah.
We're not just reacting to our opponent's moves, we're thinking ahead, figuring out what they might do and where our weak spots are.
That's a good analogy. So how do we actually find and remove these risks and attack paths?
Well, we have special tools for that attack path analysis tools.
Okay.
These tools can help us find vulnerabilities in our data, in the model itself, even in the user interface. It's like having a security expert check our entire AI system for weaknesses.
Okay, so we're using these tools to find those weak points and then fixing them before an attacker can get in. What's next on the list?
Practice number 6 is all about vigilance monitor against anomalies. Remember those adversarial attacks?
Yeah.
This is where we set up our defenses to detect any suspicious activity in the AI.
So we're watching the AI's behavior, looking for anything strange like sudden changes in data or unexpected output.
Exactly. We use anomaly detection and behavior analytics to find those red flags that might mean an attack or a system malfunction.
So we're keeping an eye on our AI, making sure it behaves.
Right.
Okay, what's the last practice in our toolkit?
The 7th one is set up incident response.
Okay.
Even with all this security, it's important to be prepared for when things go wrong.
Right.
Just like we have fire drills, we need incident response plans for our AI systems.
So we know no system is perfect and we need a plan B.
Absolutely. Incident response for Gen AI means setting up clear steps for what to do if there is an attack or a model breaks down or if data is compromised. This includes things like isolating systems, backing up data, controlling traffic, and using our existing security tools.
So we don't panic and make things worse if something happens.
Precisely, having a good incident response plan can be the difference between a small problem and a huge disaster.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Removing shadow AI, protecting data, securing access to models using built-in guardrails, detecting risks, monitoring for anomalies, and setting up incident response plans.
That's a lot.
It sounds like building a secure Gen AI environment is a multi-layered approach, kind of like protecting a castle with walls, moats, and guards.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
But what about the future? How will all this change?
That's a great question, and that's exactly what we'll be talking about in the last part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll shift our focus from the present to the future and see what's coming next for Gen AI security.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've explored the risks of Gen AI and learned about some ways to stay safe.
Right.
Now let's take a look at what the future might hold for this ever-changing world.
You know what's really interesting is that the future of Gen AI security isn't just about, building bigger walls and stronger defenses.
Right.
It's about creating a culture of responsibility and collaboration and learning.
So we're talking about more than just technical stuff, like a change in how we think about AI.
Exactly. We have to move past this idea that security is only the job of a special team.
All right.
Everyone who uses Gen AI, whether they're the developers or the data scientists or even just regular users, everyone needs to know about the risks and how to stay safe.
So it's about making everyone care about security and making sure everyone can contribute to a safer environment.
Exactly.
But what about the technology itself? What new tools and techniques can we expect to see in the future of Gen AI security?
One really cool area is AI-powered security tools. It's like fighting fire with fire. We can actually use AI to protect us from AI-powered attacks.
Okay.
AI can analyze huge amounts of data and find patterns and problems that humans might miss.
So we're training AI to be the guardian of other AIs. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
What are some examples of how that's being done?
There's some amazing projects out there. For instance, some companies are making AI systems that can look for weaknesses in code before it's even used.
Right.
That's like stopping an attack before it even starts.
Yeah.
And others are using AI to watch network traffic in real time, looking for signs of an attack or a data breach.
So it's like having an AI security guard that's always on duty.
Exactly.
That's incredible. But what about those security frameworks we talked about?
Right.
How will those change in the future?
I think standardization and collaboration are really important here.
Okay.
We need to move towards stronger and more widely accepted security frameworks for Gen AI.
So instead of everyone making their own rules,
Exactly.
we can have a set of standards that everyone follows to ensure a base level of security.
Right. This will make it easier for companies to build and use Gen AI safely and responsibly.
Mhm.
And it also creates a sense of shared responsibility where everyone knows they have a part to play in keeping things secure.
This has been a fascinating journey. We've gone from the dangers of Gen AI to the potential of AI-powered solutions.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
But as we wrap up, I'm left wondering what all of this means for society as a whole.
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? Gen AI has the potential to change so many things, healthcare, education, entertainment.
Yeah.
But as we've seen, there are risks that could have huge consequences.
So it's a powerful tool, but it could be used for good or bad.
Exactly. The future of Gen AI is really up to us. It
Mhm.
depends on the choices we make, our commitment to doing things the right way, and making security a priority.
So what can our listeners do to help create a safer and better AI future? Do they need to become cybersecurity experts?
Not at all. Even small actions can make a difference.
Okay.
Stay informed about what's happening in Gen AI security. Talk to people about responsible AI in your work and your community support groups that are promoting AI safety and ethics.
Those are all great ideas.
Eh.
It's good to know we can all play a part in shaping this future.
Definitely the future of AI isn't set in stone.
Right.
We're all writing the story together, and by making smart choices and putting security first, we can make sure it has a happy ending.
That's a really inspiring message to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Gen AI security. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe.